Welcome back. Well, the Gender Equality Act says perpetrators of violence against women should not be left unattended. The Commission's chairperson, Tamara Matebule, also told the SABC that processes of investigations tend to fail the victims of the crime, especially women. Now, this comes in the wake of the increased femicide incidents across the country. 21-year-old Jabulile Nhlapo is yet another victim of femicide. She was shot and killed allegedly by her ex-boyfriend. The incident happened at a residence in Vanderbijl Park on Tuesday. The Citibank College graduate and Unisa student is said to have been in a toxic relationship with the suspect. An arrest was made 2 days later, and a 29-year-old suspect is expected to appear in court next week. Well, these shocking stories of femicide incidents continue to grapple the media headlines across the country, even today. Well, this despite wide condemnation by people from all walks of life. Today, residents of Soweto are hosting an event that will seek to end the spate of femicide attacks. In the recent weeks, Sandile Mantsoe was recently sentenced to 32 years for murdering his girlfriend, Karabo Mokoena. MUT student Zolile Khumalo was allegedly murdered by ex-boyfriend a few days ago, and a story emerged of a Unisa student, Jabulile Nhlapo, that was allegedly also gunned down by her ex-boyfriend. And to unpack the challenges of femicide in this country, we're very pleased to be joined in studio by the Minister of Social Development, Susan Shabangu, as well as Karabo Mokooena's uncle, Ubaba Tshepo Mokoena. Minister Babu Mokoena, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Morning.
Wow. I suppose, where do we start? I mean, it's a year later. Maybe let's start with you, Uncle. The news of the sentence for Sandile Mantsoe. What was your reaction to that?
Thanks for hosting us this morning. The news for the sentence of Mr. Mantsoe was not welcomed by the family, to be honest. But after a long discussion with the family and my brother, we then said, you know what, even if Sandile can be given 300 years,
it's not going
to bring back our daughter back. But at least we need to congratulate the National Prosecution Authority because they did their job, and at least the perpetrator is behind bars.
Minister, well, I just want to say it's very encouraging to see that you, even though you've moved from the Department of Women, this topic is still very close to your heart. Let's talk about the recent developments now of femicide. It's like another spate of femicide incident once again at the very same time of the year.
Yeah. Definitely, we are in that space again. But it's also a challenge because you also talking about a particular age group.
Yes.
We're in the same space. So I must say that it's tragic for our country. We really say that there's a challenge and a problem for our country. That is why, as the Department of Social Workers, of Social Development, yes, we also looking at the gender-based violence. What is it that we need to do? And we have a mandate from Cabinet, together with the Department of Women, working together in finding a mechanism which will make sure that we address and go to the root causes of such challenges. But where we are now, it's quite clear that whilst it's in its context and totality, we have many of these challenges, but there's a clear move towards young people, because it's also young men and young women, teenagers and all that. So we really have to look at it, and as we have the mandate from Cabinet to really look at the violence against women and abuse in terms of the program of action, it's some of the issues which we are going to factor in. Looking out, do we work with universities? How do we make sure that the issues of safety at the universities, but also even in our communities, because these issues of femicide are not matters of only at the schools, but it's also in our communities, in our homes as well. So we really need everybody to ensure that we collaborate in addressing this matter. And it also talks to today when we address and have this memorial lecture, whilst we symbolizes and it embodies Karabo and the other 3 women in Soweto. It's about the child. Same week, we are seeing the same age group again being affected. So we need to work as communities. We need to also address the challenges faced by various families around this particular matter. It's about the mindset. It's about the socialization of our children. our boys, and also the role of fathers in families and in society as a whole.
Uncle Tshepo, talk to us about today's event, momentous event. I know Ma Susan is going to be giving the lecture, and we're expecting Ubabu Begicele to be delivering the keynote address there. So it's going to be an eventful afternoon out at the Soweto Theatre. Talk to us about what brought this event on.
You know, after the death of Karabo, I was deeply touched. So, as you know, that I work with boys. I mean, there's a program called the Boys to Men, mentoring, the mentoring program that I'm doing. And then I said, you know, a message needs to be told to the communities to say that maybe we've been focusing too much on women.
Yeah.
This is about time that we then ask men to start talking to their boys so that their boys can love their girlfriends, so that men can also start having that communication with the mothers of these young girls, because you'd always discover that these children sometimes, because of favoritism and other matters, they somehow divide families.
Yeah.
You'd find that the mother would always be discussing certain matters.
So it starts at home,
Yes,
basically.
it starts at home.
Yeah.
But then, because sometimes you find that the father is a bull, is a lion, he doesn't want to understand, he does not want to sit down and discuss things. Maybe that's why maybe they don't even bother talking to the
Well,
father.
these are all traditions, Uncle
Yeah.
Tshepo. How do we then change that demographic, Mam Susan, where we are open to talk about, to our parents about these kind of matters on how you treat women and vice versa?
Well, it's a process, I must say. It's not an
Yeah.
event. But we've got to make sure we start somewhere. And I must say, we've been doing it. But the complexities of issues and the culture itself, which continues to have a particular expectation and playing a particular role, continues in ensuring that men see themselves. But it's also about the socialization of our society. We have a responsibility as parents and government in making sure that the socialization of the girl child and the boy child, the issues of saying you can't do this because you're a girl, you can't do this because you're a boy, must come to an end.
Absolutely.
We must bring our kids in a space where they are equals. There's respect, there's an understanding, there's an openness. But we also as parents, we have to start doing that. The boy child must understand that when they say clean the floors, it's not a woman's job. It's
to wash
everybody's
the dishes.
It's everyone's responsibility. But also to understand that if a boy attacks a girl, don't say, shame, please, she's a girl. Stop that violence, because that's the beginning of violence and ensuring that it's instilled in society. Violence, we must condemn it in its totality, because if we start doing that, our children will recognize that it's wrong. It's wrong. It's not about when you do it that way, it's better. So my view is that we've got to work with our communities. We've got to work with our elderly people to understand even the language. We must change the language, how we address each other, how we address our children, so that that particular understanding of equality within the context
it becomes a norm.
A norm,
Yeah.
not an issue of saying there's a girl and a boy, but also it's about responsibilities. Responsibilities don't have a color, don't have gender. So those kind of issues, that's the message, and that's the attitudes we've got to change as we move forward.
Absolutely. I hear that message loud and clear, Ma. Let's talk about the program. What's happening at Soweto Theatre later on, Uncle Tshepo?
Today we are commemorating the lives of 3 young women who were killed through femicide. It will be Karabo Mokoena, who's my niece, Lerato Moloi, Popi Kwabe, and Bongega Pongola. And we then requested the Minister of Social Development to deliver the lecture.
Okay.
I'm sure she's here. Thanks very much for accepting our invitation. Honorable Begicele will also come and give a tongue lashing. I'm sure you know that she is very good at that. Because of these issues start at school. we also requested MEC Panyaza Lusufi, yes, to come and address, the learners, because we have invited 100 learners from different schools, yes, to be part and parcel of the guest. And we've also invited MEC of Community Safety for Gauteng. She will also be able to give us her side of the story.
Okay.
We've invited the NPA, we've invited the Hawks, we've invited
all the relevant
yes, we have
stakeholders
invited the MEC for Social Development, and we have a survivor of abuse. She'll be on the stand today telling us how she survived.
Uncle Tshepo, I know that we might be having a team that will be going out there. I know we have to wrap this up, but Ma Susan, you were saying something about a mandate from Cabinet. Does this, of course, mandate from Cabinet involve the police, since, of course, it's a very integral part of this whole mandate?
Definitely, it's all your JCPS cluster, which becomes very important in making sure that we pool all the JCPS and making sure that we work together to trying to find a long-lasting solution to the problem.
Thank you so much. That is Minister of Social Development Ma Susan Shabangu, and of course Tshepo Mokoena, the uncle to the fallen Karabo Mokoena. They will be hosting an event at the Soweto Theatre later on this afternoon. It starts at 2, and of course come through and see for yourself some of the speakers that will be addressing this problem. Maromo.